So let me ask y'all that question. Let me pose that question then. Do you feel like there are too many rules for Christianity?
Yes.
Too many rules for Christianity? The difference between, okay, so what you're saying is, in a sense, I had this conversation with one of my mentors about deconstructing the church. So like, we can take out, if we deconstruct meaning, we can deconstruct the church, take out everything that's just church, and keep everything that's biblical. Because does everything the church does is not necessarily biblical.
Right.
I think there are practices that have been put into play that were meant to be, that come from a biblical standpoint.
Right. Yeah.
Exactly.
But aren't necessarily biblical. So y'all said yes. I need y'all to explain why. Why do you feel there are too many rules to be a Christian or in Christianity? Like, let's talk about that. Are there too many rules? The question is, are there too many rules to be a Christian?
Ooh.
I don't think. The thing is, I think Christianity has become such a politicized term, and it's synonymous with religion, and it's synonymous with oppression, and it's synonymous with evangelical mind frames that have a tendency to be racist in their foundation. That type of Christianity has way too many rules because it's not inclusive of the body of Christ, which includes every person on this earth.
Yikes.
If you look at the relationship of Christ,
Say that one more time, will ya? That's good, Asia.
Christ was very intentional about demolishing rules. He was very intentional about saying, who do people say I am? Okay, great. Now forget that. This is who I am. I'm going to show you who I am. If you don't ignore the rules of what the world says you have to do in order to be a Christian and actually start to know Christ for yourself, read your Bible. Ask God questions. Ask God. The strangest questions I've asked God have not gotten answers, but I've gotten confirmation that it was okay to ask. People are being shamed into having a relationship with Christ, and then they don't have a strong foundation. And so when someone comes to them in distress, they can't defend their faith, and because they don't know how to defend their faith, then they fall back, or they're like, nah, Christianity just isn't for me. Christianity is for everyone because it's not just a religion. It is the truth. It is how you are supposed to live your life. Yeah. So if you don't know how you're supposed to live your life, of course everything else is going to be appealing to you because it's based on rules that are set in a temporary foundation that you think are going to last you forever, but they don't.
I think you said something, especially when you talk about Jesus, because Jesus didn't come to set rules. He came to set a standard. You know, Jesus set a standard on how we should live. You know, it wasn't about do this and this will happen. You know, you look how Jesus lived his life. Jesus didn't just come to earth and say, hey, I'm God, I'm going to do this. Jesus fasted for 40 days before his ministry started. Like, he actually disciplined his flesh. He didn't just say, hey, I'm God, I'm just going to do this and do this and that. Jesus actually did some things to discipline himself so he can actually carry out his purpose. So I think it's more about the standard of how we should live as Christians, not more about, oh, these are the rules, and if you don't do this, you're going to hell, and if you don't do it this way. And I think that the rules have created unnecessary condemnation, unnecessary conviction. Like now, like, you know, we've idolized Sunday. If you don't go to church on Sunday, you're not a Christian. If you miss Bible study? Oh yeah, see, you missing it. You missing it. You know what I'm saying? And it's created a conviction that doesn't come from God. You know what I'm saying? So I think we have to do away with those rules and really start promoting relationship with God.
Question on the table is, has the pandemic affected your relationship with God? Or how? That's better wording for it. How has the pandemic affected your relationship with God?
It's like tug of war.
Tug of war.
And I think I said this in my video. It's like push and pull, push and pull, push and pull, especially when pandemic first started. I have all this time on my hands. I'm at home. I got my baby. You know, I got to stay at the church, so I'm in my Bible. I'm still working with ID. I am praying. I am doing this. And then like about, let's say 3 or 4 months ago, my baby daddy dumped me. Real bad. And I'm being funny when I say that, but it was actually a very traumatic experience. after a 5.5-year relationship. I did not know a breakup would take me down that much. I did not know that was going to take me down as the way it did. Like, literally thinking about dying, not because I want to harm myself, but because I don't want to feel pain. I didn't know that would affect me in such a way. You don't know until it happens. I could not see God. I could not hear God. I could not think of a God, anybody's God. So, of course, I'm thinking I had this bomb relationship with him. Especially, I'm in my Bible now. I'm praying over my son. He learning Bible verses. I'm doing this. We're doing that. We're home, and I gotta pray through the pandemic because I want God to heal the people. So not only do I want God to heal the people, I also want Him to heal me in the midst of my heartbreak. And in the midst of my heartbreak, I get coronavirus. My sister brought COVID in the house, and she's probably going to kill me. And it ran through the house like a wildfire. It hit my son, her daughter, my father, my cousin, and it actually took my sister and my father down, hospitalized. Father with double pneumonia, sister with pneumonia in her lower left lung, both hospitalized for 7 days. What that did for me and my family is put us at a standstill. And actually, my therapist asked me, how are you so calm having COVID than you are through your heartbreak? I said, because I don't have control. I can't, until the 14 days are up, until I retest negative, there is nothing that I can do about this. I was tired of my mother sending me scriptures every day. She was sending me healing YouTube videos. I was sick of it. I was crying. I was away from my baby, but I had no control over that situation. But thank God, because everybody is negative twice. I don't know who my God is. I don't know where my God is. I don't know what He's doing. I do know for a fact, even though I feel like he's left me, I know He hasn't gone anywhere because my broken heart is mended. It's being mended. It's in process of healing. I do know He does that, but I don't know if I should trust Him, which I know I should, or I don't know. Like I can't feel it.
Gotcha.
I don't feel like we here. Like in the beginning, I'm reading my Bible. You know what? Matter of fact, as soon as I'm feeling good about my walk, I feel like I was in the boxing ring, and every time I turn around, I got punched in my face, and I know how to fight.
Mm-hmm. I would say my relationship struggled. It kind of drifted. And the reason for that was because the pandemic kind of exposed how close I really wasn't to God. Mm. Right? Mm-hmm. With everything going on through the tradition of church and everything,
wow.
I thought me and God was at a place where we really wasn't. You know? And through us having so much time on our hands, you know, being at home all day, my relationship had to go from tradition to devotion. Mm-hmm. And I had to make time for God. And in me having all that time, I was saying like, man, like without church, without this and that, if I don't got to preach, I ain't praying. And that's real. I was having a conversation with my homies. I'm like, bro, if I ain't got a preaching engagement, like I'm not really devoting my time to God. You know what I'm saying? God is not really hearing from me unless I need Him to speak to me to give me a word. And when God cut a lot of those things out, I had to really come to terms with a lot of things that were wrong with me inwardly. Yeah. And it was an ugly thing. Like me, I was the type of dude, man, I would avoid, you know, my stuff. Now, it wasn't just, I wouldn't talk to people about my issues. I wouldn't even talk to myself about my issues. You know what I'm saying? It was kind of like cringy to me to kind of think, man, I'm insecure. Man, I got pride. I got some arrogance. It was kind of cringy for me to, you know, really look at those things that's in my heart. So in this time, man, I had to really address those things and confess those things to God. And the pandemic, because we can't be around people, it put me like in a straitjacket where I was forced to obey God. I was forced to disconnect from people God was telling me to disconnect from before. Like when God tells you to do something, you're gonna, like whether you surrender or not,
get down and lay down.
You're gonna get down or lay down.
Stay proud.
And literally, like, I literally had to have my heart broken and my expectations disappointed. You know, I was dealing with devastation with people, you know, I really thought I was here with. You know, this situation kind of just exposed, you know, other relationships in my life, you know, so it was really hard for me. I was at a place where I was just kind of forced to say, God, you my source. Like, I really had to get to a place where I had no other choice but to let God be what he was always trying to be in my life.
You know when God is speaking to you. Like, you know when there's a transition in the spirit, and you know when you're being disobedient to it.
The pandemic has exposed that I needed some serious character work. And I was walking in a lot of pride because of things that have happened to me, and I was using that as a tool of manipulation or guilt, like to try and guilt people into treating me well without actually using the power of prayer to ask God for a heart change, like a genuine heart change, not type of manipulation where it's like, God, get them to do what I want them to do, but out of the sincerity of wanting them to be a better believer on behalf of the kingdom. I wasn't doing that because I didn't have the character to humble myself and acknowledge no one is perfect, but I also can't just sit and be a victim from everything that's happened my entire life. So it's just definitely exposed, how much of a lack of character I really had and why the platform that I thought I deserved was not being given to me. I didn't deserve it. I didn't have the capacity to handle it.
For me, all right, just being as blunt as possible. Like, you ever like kind of wonder like why it seems everybody's doing like really better than you? Mm-hmm. Like that joint, that's been kind of like my story. Like, I've put in a lot of work like in my life, whether it be like for God or just like in like here on earth, as far as like working and whatever, trying to be good to people, trying to help people as much as I can. And like I just been trying to be, make the most out of my time here. But like, you look around at a time like this and it's like, he doing better than me. Dang, she doing better than me. And then for me, like, I had a band and stuff for some time, so like even seeing people who came under my leadership doing good, like buying houses and doing certain stuff, and I'm like, I'm happy for you. Like, genuinely, I'm proud of you. I'm happy for you. But it made me sit back like, God, like, yo,
I'm here.
yo, like, I ain't trying to count other people's blessings or count nobody else's pockets, but like, what's up, man? Like for real. And for me, like, the pandemic, that joint was just like an uppercut after I had already been in the fight. Like, I just, for me, my family, we went through one of my biggest life disappointments ever. I had a job that was pretty good, sustaining. Got hooked up with a guy that I thought was genuine. Basically left my job, and he told me that my situation was going to completely change. Presented me a number for work, still doing pretty much the same thing that I'm doing, working with kids and all that type of stuff, but just on a different level, and made certain promises and finally. So I left my other job, came to him, and things were nothing like what they were supposed to be, to the point where the sheriff was knocking on my door like eviction. Like, stuff got that tight. Like, it was, you went from telling me that I'm possibly getting 5 figures a month to I'm getting part-time McDonald's working pay. Like, and I got a whole family at home. You know what I mean? Like, this ain't just. So I questioned God then. Like, I started looking back at my life, man. Like, man, everything that you've been doing with creativity, with your band, with your kids at the school, with that, it's been based on kind of gathering. So it made me angry with God. Like, why you put me in this position and give me all these like gifts and give me all these different ways to use stuff if now you're gonna just snatch it and make me be at this point where it's like, all right, well, what the heck do I do now? Like, I don't know how to work on computers. I don't know how to do all that. Like, and honestly, God, you've wired me in a way that the 9 to 5 just ain't me. I'm not sitting going. I can't take the routine. Like, it's just not me. I'm gonna get fired. When I had the jobs of routine, I got fired because routine just isn't for me. I need to be able to, maneuver and so God, why you equip me like this, and then almost put my family on the street? I get you, God. I've been going to church. I've been and I ain't out here doing nothing crazy. And I see some people, they off the scamming and all that, and I be like, man, that scamming look real attractive right now because I'm blessed. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, they got it. Like, I see, even though I mean, it's wrong, but I would love to be able to say, hey, pack y'all bags, we going on a quick vacation. I put in the work to be able to say that. I feel like I put in the years and the time, but I'm not in that position. And it's like, God, why you do me like this?
It seems like there's the common thread here is like stripping. Like strip, like God has taken or like had to get your attention. Somebody used the word shift, like Asian.
Minister.
But I think that I think a lot of us have been stripped during this time to where, at minimum, what we've had to do is ask God.
That's it.
Even if it was why, how, what, when, where.
Yep.
We have had to ask. Having a relationship with God is the most important decision that one can ever make. And after you make that decision, it's maintaining and building that relationship. I'm married. I've been married for going on 5 years now. And I learned something about my wife every single day. I learned something about my wife. She learned something about me every single day. And so just like that relationship with my wife or with your friends or with your girlfriend or your boyfriend, your brother, your sister, whoever, you learn something new about God every day. You build that relationship. Now, we all have relationships that have hurt us, have made us feel like the person was doing something wrong or cheating on us. And we've all felt that we have been abandoned by God at some point. Like, God, where are you at? I don't feel you. I don't see you. I feel like you left me here alone. But in those moments where you can't feel him, you can't see him, go to the things that you know about him. Check his call log. Check his track record. Go back over your life and look at all the ways that God has came through for you or kept you and been with you. And I promise you, if you can't trace his hand, trust his character. This is the vault.